Good evening, and welcome to the Petersburg By Night podcasting network. Tonight, we present to you our Vampire the Masquerade chronicle, Bloody Strings.
Welcome to another St. By Night revamped production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes or be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to St. Pete by Night. Tonight we're playing Bloody Strings, one of the many chronicles here on St. Pete. I am Devlin Kane, your humble storyteller this evening, and these are my lovely players. Please introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Truckexe, and I am playing Drake Monahan, the brash Bahari Bruja.
Hello, I'm Kendall, and I'll be playing Maggie the Gala.
Hello, I'm Lekar, and I am playing the well-dressed ne'er-do-well Toreador Matthew Halden.
Hey, I'm Mew, and I'll be playing Sophie Clews, the malted milkshake Malkavian.
Thank you very much. Now, last we left off, the coterie is seemingly primary suspects in a murder investigation for the Keeper of Elysium. After a brief interrogation, they were released to return to their haven. Trying to figure out how to pick things up and move forward, they split up to handle a couple of tasks. Meanwhile, Bellatrix, they have not heard from. That's where we're going to be picking up. Starting with Matthew and Maggie. As you stepped away from the ascent, you started heading toward the studio. As you arrive, you can see the area nearby has been impacted by the storm. You are in a moment of quiet compared to what you have for the last several hours. As you approach, the scene is yours.
Matt is going to unlock the door and kind of motion Maggie in. After you.
Thank you. Maggie would look around and wait, and kind of stop a little ways in, wait for him to catch up and follow him to wherever he needs to go.
There's easels and stools just everywhere throughout the rooms. set up for when he does his schooling and stuff like that for when people come over. Really hoping I get another one. And he'll just kind of walk back, and on one of the back shelves there is the urn he got for Mina. And he'll just kind of walk up to it and it's kind of like the Raiders of the Lost Ark scene where he's kind of nervous to touch it because he feels like something's going to happen, but then he eventually just picks it up. Once more into the breach.
Where are we taking her?
Back with us, but I'm gonna get something to make sure she's safe.
Would you like me to hold her while you go and find that?
Sure.
Maggie will come over and delicately take the heart-shaped urn from his hands. There's kind of this quiet promise with her eyes that she won't let anything happen to her while she's holding her.
He's gonna step away and come back a few minutes later with a somewhat not large lockbox, like combination little metal thing, and he's gonna open it and just kind of hold it out for her to put the urn in.
She will delicately put it in, make sure it is standing upright and not wobbling, and then look back to Matthew for him to close it.
And he will do so a little reluctantly, but... And then he'll grab a empty messenger bag and just kind of slide it inside and sling it over his shoulder. If worse comes to worse, I don't know what he wants exactly. I mean, I have a feeling, but if worse comes to worse and he wants me out of the picture, I know he'll take care of her. So if he tries to take her, let him. Despite his machinations and his thought process right now, this is a grieving man. I can't say I wouldn't be doing the same in his position. He's doing this because he loved her too. So if he takes her, let him.
Where would you like her to be? If it comes down to that.
Shh. She's coming with me.
You're bringing a lockbox to a gala.
I know it's tacky, but
It's obtrusive. Aren't you supposed to be sneaky?
oh, this is just a transporter. I'm not carrying her in this. A little extra security on the way back, just in case.
I have a compromise.
For what?
This idea. I don't like it. Maggie will point at his chest, a little to the side of where she knows that he has that little bullet of her ashes. If he does away with you, he can take this off of you. Both you and she deserve to go back to your families.
Oh, no, 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 no. No.
When I say family, I don't mean blood.
I knew what you meant. I don't know. I feel like that would do more harm than good. Let me think about it.
Alright. Because that is a large urn. And regardless how you transport it into a gala, it will be obtrusive. I've been to a couple of them. My mother tried to get me onto this whole debutante thing. Didn't hash out.
Yeah, my mother's the one who dressed me. You know, a fashion designer. It never really stuck with me, to be honest. I mean, the style for myself, but the outer workings, not my thing. I may not know art, but I know what I like, kind of thing.
It sounds like it just made you better at dodging needles.
Yeah, when she did make me the pincushion.
Is there anything else we should grab while we're here?
No, that was it.
Good. Do you think he would know about this place?
At this point, I'm going to go under the assumption that he knows about everything I do. He has found me or targeted me somewhere.
Does he have your same skill set?
Very much so.
Maggie's going to activate heightened senses and then oblivion sight as she looks around. Then she'll glance over at Matthew. Everything is where you left it, yes?
Unless the storm shook some stuff around, yes.
As you're looking around, you don't see anything popping out of the ordinary.
Okay. She'll deactivate her oblivion sight. Better safe than sorry.
It's my motto.
I thought your motto was jumping from one truck to another.
No, that's just, that's my wheelhouse.
Motto, wheelhouse. Such vastly different things.
You say tomato, I say death wish.
I am well aware of your death wish, Matt.
But that's behind me, and it didn't quite go the way we wanted it to. Of course, as I told Miss
I was
Clews
unaware
the
you
other
were
day.
walking backwards.
I'm an 80s child. I moonwalk.
I see. So does that mean everything is behind you?
He'll kind of look down at the bag. Not everything.
She'll look down at the bag and then back up at him. Are you sure there's nothing more we can do for her?
Not unless you know some ancient Chinese secret for bringing her back. No.
Not personally. And she wouldn't be happy if we did.
Oh, I'd never hear the end of it. But it would be worth the whining.
You wouldn't hear it at all. She strikes me as the kind who would leave.
I was going to say glare on wordlessly. Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, there's nothing more we can do for her. It's just you then. Have you ever
Yes.
lost someone before?
Not like this. You could say my parents are dead to me, but as far as I know, they're still around. Although I wouldn't say that they were dead to me. They did what they had to do.
With what we are. That is usually the case. But have you mourned yourself?
There was nothing to mourn.
There is everything to mourn.
And I wouldn't even know who it was I was mourning. I have been far too many people to know who to start with.
And start from the beginning. And mourn each of them. You may have been many, but each of them deserves acknowledgement, remembrance, and allowance of grief. You realize you are worth grieving, don't you?
Are you kidding? My death would be a tragedy.
It would. And it was.
No, not really. That was probably the best day of my life. You don't get a better view than the top of a skyscraper on New Year's Eve. Especially in New York City.
Have you ever seen the moon from underwater?
Can't say that I have.
I think my view was better than yours. But that doesn't mean I didn't mourn myself. But my new life, what I am now, is better than what I had. It is okay to acknowledge what you were and mourn yourself and appreciate what you have now. There's a dichotomy to it. It's complex. She'll kind of look around to his art pieces. None of these have one simple meaning, do they?
And he'll kind of look around and kind of linger on each one. No. No, they don't.
Death is much the same, especially in lives that we lead.
I suppose there's some wisdom in that.
She'll nod. I'll take what I can get.
You're in the wrong business.
Oh, which business do you think I should be in?
Supernatural therapy. If you think I have problems.
I think it is difficult for people to accept what they are if they haven't accepted that they died. Recognition is the first step. And I don't think anyone would trust a kindred therapist.
Fair.
Besides, I don't come cheap for people I don't know.
Send me the bill.
I know you. This is how I treat my friends.
Oh, then I'm glad you're on our side.
I don't want you throwing yourself into this like it is the last thing you do. I don't want you to die. Yet, Matthew.
Oh, don't mistake. I'm not going there with the intention of this being my last, rodeo. No, I don't plan on going in there and not coming out. But I don't know what to expect. And I can't plan for every contingency. Almost.
I know.
It was a what-if scenario.
I know.
I plan on...
When they present themselves, you tend to have suicidal tendencies.
Eight years of bottled up rage that have slowly been leaking out. I can't say for certain that I won't immediately want to leap across the table when I see him, but I will do everything in my power to keep from doing that immediately.
Then I will be grateful for your self-control when you don't. Do you not feel safe with your anger?
It's not that I don't feel safe. Had this been anyone else, I'd be fine. But as they say, betrayal doesn't come from your enemies. And that's what hurt the most. And I think, if anything, I'm more angry that he destroyed paintings at this point. Embarrassed me in front of family. And brought trouble to her doorstep that she neither asked for nor wanted. Yeah, I think I'm a little untrusting of my anger. But, do it on the day.
Do you have outlets for it? She kind of glances at his art again. Or does it not come out through your brush?
The rage comes out through the palette. But when you're trying to now have to cover up someone else's anger, it's daunting.
Well, then it's a good thing you are not doing it alone, isn't it? Whether you like that or not.
I work better with a team.
As much as that bothers you.
Can't stab myself in the back.
Nope, but you can certainly jump off a truck.
I made it.
I am not letting it go.
Oh, I'm sorry, though, but the best part was watching him whack against the wall and... Kodak moment.
Oh, yes. It took out a good deal of my own anger to shoot. She'll kind of make a gesture toward the door. Shall we?
Yes, let us be off.
You make your way out of the studio, heading outside. You see the storm is starting to pick back up a little bit as the eye passes. Give me a whistle marshal.
Four.
Who and I spent a willpower on that.
So did I.
You don't, Matthew, notice much as you hold on to the objects you took out of your studio, Mina, and you look over as Maggie. You notice across the street as you leave the building, not on a very high rooftop, but far enough that it would be inconvenient for you to give chase. You see somebody perched on the corner, wearing dark fatigues, seeming to watch the entrance of the building. Once you make them, they stand up and they begin to turn and walk away.
Okay. Maggie would look over at Matthew and very quietly say, "How many people is he working with?"
Between... So far, I got 4.
Do they usually wear black fatigues?
Last time they wore normal clothes as far as I know, and before that they were wearing cop uniforms, so anything's possible.
I see. Well, the front of your building was being watched. Perhaps we should find another route back to where we are going.
Got it.
Maggie will loop her arm through Matthew so that he does not try and give chase, and start taking a different route back to, I can't remember the name of the place.
The Ascent?
That one. The Ascent.
You begin making your way and arrive at your destination, Hindered. As we come back a little bit, as your coterie mates left, what do Sophie and Drake do as you are left in the Ascent?
So Sophie is pouring a hot kettle over a teacup with one of Bellatrix's specialty tea concoctions that is meant for calming. And she takes the cup and has the warmth in her hands and walks over and sits next to Drake. Well, Drake, I always knew that I would go on to execution by trial for killing a man, but it's some sick, twisted irony that it's for Edwin, who we had no part in hurting at all.
Drake will lift his hat a bit and side-eye her some with a smirk. I'm sorry, have you already killed a man, little lady?
Well, I killed one man, yes, but he was going to hurt one of our coterie, so I think that was quite justified. I've killed no other men, although I failed to stop one, which I suppose I failed to stop 2 now. That really isn't my fault, is it? But I'm still going to be put on trial for it. It's very disheartening.
So what bothers you more, having killed or being on trial when you didn't kill? Why is there such a distinction for you?
Well, I think, there are some moral situations where a killing must happen to protect, the greatest good, the good of the realm, as they say. But it's very frustrating to be punished for something that you didn't do. It's not justice, and if only there were cameras in the room, that would have really solved our issue. I mean, I'm sure you've run into the law before. Have you been? No, you've probably committed all the crimes you've been accused of, haven't you? Other than this one.
Greg just gives her a smile. I've done a couple things, but this ain't about me. Tell me about it. Your first kill. What did it make you feel?
Well, there was quite a sadness and rush as I felt the little furry creature pass on in my hands and stopped breathing.
Oh.
Although that's really the only first one that I remember. I killed 3 others while I was first I guess you could say transitioning to this current form. So I don't really count those because I don't remember them.
Okay. So what you're saying is, as long as you don't pay attention, the death on your hands don't matter? No, don't get me wrong. I am not judging, little lady. Just wanted to check.
No, of course not. But on a kindred's first night, when they're not quite all there, it's not right, obviously. And I, like I said, I feel quite a bit of remorse. But it's understandable that there would be less feelings when you don't remember doing something.
Oh. Well then, what is remorse to you, Sophie? I mean, genuinely, remorse is the idea that the death of another truly is going to impact us. Remorse is having all actions mete out an outcome that we genuinely don't want to happen before, well, usually before it affects us. If that remorse wasn't there, if instead you saw something else in it, what would it be?
Well, the adrenaline is always present when something like that happens. You know, when I saw my first ending similar to Edwin's, I felt mostly terrified, and a bit of a tingle, but it was a terrified tingle. Yes.
Yes, you seem to know terror quite well. It has quite a strong hold on you. Is that terror for pain? Is it for the loss and the absence of of your existence, or is it something deeper?
Well, I just don't want to be locked up again for who knows how long this time. That is, of course, if they don't just execute us all, which would be very unlucky, as I've really started to like this area, and I've liked this new life with this coterie. I was looking forward to a very long life with freedom, but I suppose I'm just unlucky like that.
It's a bit funny that you call that unlucky. Now, don't get me wrong, I see where you come from, but here's something you should know about me, Sophie. I've been put into pain, locked up, tortured, had all sorts of things done to me for many, many years. This terror of yours, it controls you. But it doesn't have to. We learn from pain. We learn from death, loss, grief. You are the one who controls yourself. You are the one who controls what it does to you. If you master that, there's nothing anyone can really do to you that's going to affect you unless you want it to affect you. That man that you were so terrified of won't hold sway over you. Yeah, he could do things to you that you don't like, that bring about pain that truly does blank out the mind. Nonetheless, though, that pain is a lesson. That pain is your strength because he's giving it to you. It is a hard lesson to learn, but if I can learn it, I know a smart little whip like you sure as hell can. The main thing... Go ahead.
Are you referring to controlling a frenzy, like how you described with Sarah? Are you able to teach someone how to control them?
Well, don't get me wrong. I've known some in the Bahari that could. That connection to one's emotions and I mean all the emotions can do quite a lot with that. But it's easier to control that thing and hold it back even more when you don't let your own emotions control you in the first place. It's more about, what do they call it? A mentality. More about kind of pushing through and embracing it. So you could be controlled by that terror. You could be worrying about things that you have no control over. But that pain, that fear, that anguish from past trauma, oh, you can do many things with that. See, I may not agree with the other sect members of the Baha'i. I've killed them for it. What I do agree with is that our pain is a teacher. The things we go through is a teacher. Lilith and the Night Mothers.
Did you killed other kindred for disagreeing with them? Is that what you just? Is that?
No, it's not.
Said?
No, it's not. I killed to save my life, and then I killed others that would take it. Because they've been told by those that have no care for them and have no care for the beliefs that they instilled in these very people and use that belief to power themselves instead of the work of the Night Mother. But you see, Lilith actually doesn't want us to kill unless it's necessary in the first place. And that's one of our tenets. The waste and abuse of such powerful lessons by those in power is what drove me to my decisions. But nonetheless, having that pain, having that control, is what allowed me to take the steps necessary to save both myself and try to work to save the others. Can you see what can't be seen, Sophie?
Well, I do believe I have quite a uncanny ability to see some of the radioactive materials that are coming off or left over. So many basements. I have a bit of an issue with, not only for the constricting feeling of being trapped again, but there's a lot of radon in there, and it can be a bit irritating, actually.
I'm sure. Can you trigger that at will? Does it allow you to see little marks here or there, like beyond just the radiation?
Well, I've been able to see some kindred who were acting like they were sneaky, but they were walking straight across the room in plain sight. So
Well,
I suppose I often can see things that go unnoticed by others
Well-
sometimes.
well, I think this is a good example of being able to use pain and pushing through it. Well, then, I know there's something beyond me that you could probably see. If you use that sense, it'll hurt. It'll hurt a lot, but it might give you an idea of why I'm so sure of myself. See, in all my uncertainty with my actions, there's one thing I'm not uncertain about. Lilith holds me close. Her name is not ash in my mouth, and my actions only suffer from the doubt if I had the power to pull them off. I feel her around me, and she cares greatly for her children.
I don't see that, but Maggie is much better at seeing things like undead wrapped around you. So perhaps her skill is a bit better than mine.
This isn't about the
but you're
undead,
correct.
Sophie.
I should keep working on it, practicing.
You should always test yourself. I'm making the offer because I think it might illuminate some things to you. But as I said, it would cause a bit of pain from what I've experienced so far. Not to me, but to you. I'm not here to tell you to do one thing or the other, but I see how that terror controls you. I see how the guilt eats at you. And being guilty and being afraid when terrible things happen are poor comfort. They are, especially guilt. Guilt tells us that we have to feel bad because of the decision needed to be made when we do the best we can on a regular basis. It's not guilt that teaches us. It is the ability to look with clear eyes. You need to find that space where you're not controlled. I can help with that. There's lots of things that I can help with that. That it is not fun, but it's effective. But I'm not here to tell you to do one thing or another, but you really do need to get that under control. It's only going to hurt you, and by hurting you, letting things hurt you, it hurts the people that you care about.
Yes, well, Duncan is usually quite good at getting me out of situations which are not good. Unfortunately,
Did Duncan get you out of this situation, Sophie?
Well, he did before, and he is very, very charming, and what's the name of that was it started with a G? It was not
Honey.
Gabriel.
Honey, who got you out of that situation? Who?
Oh. Duncan did.
Duncan got you away from the old man?
I helped. I was bluffing really, but I threatened to kill everyone and then myself. And that kind of jump started something that Duncan finished.
Well, here's the thing. It doesn't matter who finished it. It doesn't matter. You made an action catalyst. You pushed through whatever you're feeling at the time, and you made a choice, and it saved you. You are responsible for you. And I can appreciate gratitude and knowing when someone has helped you. You need to have your own strength. You need to be able to do things yourself. You are a smart woman, Sophie. You're smarter than me. I can admit that. You have a fire of your own in you. You attach that fire far too easily. You need, and the point of fire, to burn, purge.
It's more that I'm realistically looking at this situation How do you escape someone that is older and stronger and has had many years to practice these abilities that he can just use, and he is just much better, and Duncan's not around right now, and if he were here, we could deal with it much better. I did tell him to go though. That might be
Oh.
where he's at.
Let me answer your question, Sophie. So, in this scenario, all your avenues of escape, all the options you have are taken away from you, correct?
Well, I could just abandon everyone and leave, but I don't really want
You're not going to do that. Okay, then. Then it's simple. And I know it probably sounds humorous coming from a meathead like me, but you fight. You don't. There is nothing stronger than fighting with everything you have. There's nothing that will push you and make you better than fighting with everything you have. Consequences to your own self be damned. There can be plenty of context with allies or friends around, but when it comes down to it, when the cards are down and all the sheep have come home, you make the decision to fight and you'll be free. You make the decision to say, screw the pain. It is my teacher. You say to your fear that you make me stronger as its adrenaline runs through you. And you fight. And in whatever way you can, as long as you fight, you're giving your all, your incomes, it'll be sudden and swift, and you don't have to worry about it no more. Doesn't come. You win. You become stronger. You save the people that matter to you. But you have to either push that pain and that fear away, or you absorb it and let it teach you. You let it enter you and become part of you. You are important to this coterie. Even I can see it. You are not some sniveling rabbit. You are a woman with ability and intelligence.
This does feel like giving advice to a small child that against a bully they could just beat up the bully that is 2 times bigger than them. I appreciate the advice.
I get it. I get it, Sophie. I do.
It's not always applicable to say just work through the pain and fight your hardest when there are severe advantages, an imbalance of advantages.
That's very true. However, I'm not talking to a child, and this is not a situation a child's going to find themselves in. This is a situation of someone who could rob you of your senses, trap you forever, and could probably hurt all the people you care about. When you are out of options, you don't lock up. You lock up, they win. Every time. It doesn't matter how tiny that push is. It doesn't matter how small that flame gets. There's always a chance. If you just keep pushing. When all the cards are down, you're right. That bully is 2 times bigger than you, 3 times stronger. I fought an entire group of kindred before. Even I am not all powerful. Gabriel could probably kick my ass. I know I can get my ass kicked. It doesn't stop someone when it's important to them. So what have you learned? Are you the type that will truly give in and let pain, fear, anxiety, and abuse win? Are you going to learn, no matter how much that pain rips at your sense, no matter how you lock up with that terror, are you going to learn how to overcome it? Are you going to learn how to take it in and push through? Or do you just become a rabbit?
Well, I assume that I'm going to fight as hard as I can until he turns to me and says, kill yourself, and then I'll be compelled to do so.
And then you don't have to worry about it no more. That's my point. If he wanted to do that, he would have already done it. You have a value to him. No matter what he does, there's always going to be some small sliver of a chance that you can win. I'm not telling you to do nothing except try to learn and try to embrace all of that negativity. Otherwise, it's just another weapon against you. It's a hard thing. I can do my best to help you with it. I'm very familiar with it. But at the very end of it, you need to understand that for yourself. I'm not going to judge you either way, Sophie. I'm just trying to help you because I know what you can provide to this coterie, and honestly, you're quite a sweet little bean if I say so myself. I don't want to see you give up.
Yeah, so I'll just try to stop having anxiety.
Oh,
And
have
panic.
anxiety. Here's what I'm saying. Have anxiety. You feel that. You feel it all. And you embrace it. It is a part of you. Pain is a part of you. Terror is a part of you. Anger is a part of you. That's what a lot of people don't get about such things. It's not that we should cast our negativities aside. That we accept them, bring them in, let them fuel us. They heighten the senses. They push us when nothing else will. And then once we master those, no matter how grueling and terrifying the prospect, we master them, there is nothing that can stop us. You can take what you will from it, Sophie. But this is what I...
Until he compels you to stop, and then you do stop.
Yeah, but there's always going to be that part of you inside. There's always going to be that part of you. You think I haven't been under compulsions before?
Please, yes. Tell me this, and tell me, did you get out of it, and how did you get out of it?
There's always a loophole. There's always a little thing. I'll tell you a story of a slave. The slave was in much the same position, maybe not magically inclined, but it's still going to be it can still be the case. Master told its slave to never harm them, to never raise their voice, never provoke their anger. And the master was a very angry man, very consistently angry. And slowly but surely, it took time. It took a lot of pain and suffering. Slade was able to find a way to beat out that abuse-ridden training, for lack of a better word. You want to know how they did that? Because it made sense. Through all that pain and trauma that compelled their body to react how it needed to, the only way to keep an angry man from never being angry at them, the only way to never harm them, make sure they died. So the master was killed. Maybe not by a slave, but accidents happen. What's the best way to follow an order when it's an impossible order? Magic is magical mumbo jumbo things are just like that. The order is concise. The order is pinpointed. However, a smart lady like you, it's going to be very easy to twist that into working against them. So even in that scenario, barring them making you kill yourself, you can find a way. There's always a way around it. Like Drake will sit back and raise his hands. That's all I can say. It's coming from a place of care, and I'm not here to argue or say anything else. I respect you, Sophie. I just hope that at least something helps you out should things go bad.
Sophie is going to attempt to compel Drake.
Okay.
I forget though. Is it just like a one word? Is the other one like a full idea?
Yeah, it can be one word as long as it is a clear command.
Sophie turns to Drake and says, grovel.
All right. Give me charisma and dominate versus intelligence and resolve.
Yeah. Am I allowed to blood search this on this one?
You can.
Okay.
I blood surged. in preparation.
Nice. There it is. In the will. Does Jack SWAT?
I had 4 successes.
Just 2.
Grovel.
All right. Drake will take off his hat, kneel down. You know, Sophie, you truly are magnanimously intelligent. You are able to get through that terror. I truly believe you'd be quite the force to deal with. I can't.
All right, you can
I
stop.
bow.
You can stop.
He does. He puts his hat back on and
I just wanted to show you, what it's like, and my grandsire is far more powerful than I am. He can just tell me to do whatever he desires, and I'll have to do it. And it's a horrible way to live. I once had to sing for 4 hours. Sometimes it was more than that, but one time was very important. I had to sing for 4 hours for my sire, just because he wanted to. Even though my throat felt like it was on fire, I was exhausted. He made me do that, and I couldn't help myself. I had to do it. It's a hell to not have things like physical pain that you're describing, although it was painful, but it's not about pain. It's about not having control of what you're doing or your body. It's
Sophie, didn't mean just physical pain. Abuse is pain.
yes, well,
Being controlled is pain.
Yes.
What do you think I'm trying to suggest you do? I'm not telling you to throw yourself recklessly. I'm saying, look, teach yourself, master yourself. But when the worst comes, you have options. Something I can help with. I laid on a rack and had entire sections of my body flayed off my skin. I've had images of who I thought I loved or cared about. Well, let's just say unspeakable is quite the word. And I have had my sire, who guided me through everything, see me as nothing more than a stepping stone, and would have turned me into dust, and my soul would have been joined into hers, just because she wanted power outside of the very faith she put into me. I get it, in my own way. I'm not telling you to throw yourself recklessly. I'm not telling you that you're wrong. Even I'm letting you know there's an option for the worst scenario, for bettering yourself. I'm not the greatest talker in the world. I'm blunt, forward, and I have immense strength in what I believe. And that's about all I got, other than he lifts his shirt, gesturing at his abs. Amazingly good looks.
How much time do we have realistically? How long do these sort of bureaucratic trials take? I mean, in kindred society.
In my experience, it could take anything from a couple days to 50 years. The Camarilla is hardly efficient, unless they really need to be. Even then. Have you ever been in an adventure-led city? Whew.
No, I've really only been in this city for my second life, as it were.
Well, you're facing a lot, Sophie.
Are you
You'll probably.
boxing?
Well, I did participate in quite a few fighting rings the past couple of years. I'll say that. You're a bit of a pugilist yourself.
Well, I had a friend that I cared very deeply for. We were roommates for a time. She helped teach me to box, and you were just discussing many things in terms of, training and such. I think I would like to do more training with boxing.
I can do that, but how far are you willing to go? Because I could really teach you. And I can really build up some tough skin on you, both internally and mentally, and externally. But how far are you willing to go? I mean, I'll take it easy if you'd like me to, but that's up to you.
Well, not necessarily easy, but do keep in mind you're much stronger. So
I know.
Not punching through my head would probably be a good start.
Well, yeah, that would be a little bit counterproductive, wouldn't it? I can do that, though. I can absolutely do what I can, and maybe see if I can teach you in a bit of a better way than my sire taught me.
About that moment, there's a knock
Thank
at
you.
the door.
And he'll gesture and grab a steak. Stay over there. And Drake will go check, looking through the eye hole.
You see Mr. McTeer.
He'll just and open the door. Hey, boss, what can I do for you?
He steps in, kind of scans through. I was hoping to give you the news all together. Where's the rest of your group?
Matt and Maggie went out to acquire something very important, but it's a quick one and done. We made sure that no one was separated and they're laying low.
Well, then I'll trust you to pass this information on to them. I've come to inform you that you are cleared of all charges. We've received a confession.
Oh, by who?
I'm not at liberty to say at this time.
It's not Duncan, is it?
He kind of glances over at you for a moment. I really can't say.
Well, you can nod, right? One nod for yes.
He nods.
Well, I guess we're gonna get nothing out of him. I mean, we can't really expect him to divulge Camaria's secrets, now can we?
Glad you understand.
I'll make sure to let the others know. Thank you, Mr. McTeer. Anything else we should know?
No, it seems, while you do have your own issues that you need to take care of, and I highly recommend you manage to do that as quietly as you can manage, you won't have to worry about me keeping an eye on you or anything to that effect. You are free to operate as you do.
Oh, Mr. McTeer, just a heads up. When you're walking out, there's been a case of, from the back stabbings from something that can just, disappear into thin air and run across a hallway before even I can see them. But walk carefully, yeah? Don't get yourself stabbed in the back. And he just looks at Cahill, like, hey, be aware there's something like that out there.
I'll take that under advisement. He nods and
Awesome.
he steps out of the ascent.
Drake will close the door. See, I told you were fucking intelligent, Sophie. And we'll handle Duncan.
This isn't good at all.
Well, for now, let's let the planners of our group get here. I'm the action guy. How about you take a seat, all right?
As you take a moment to process what just happened, we're going to go to break. Thank you all for tagging along so far, and we'll see you when we come back.
St. Petersburg by Night is brought to you through collaborations with our partnered vendors: Wolfpack Dice, Ember Fox Dice, Dragon Ink Dice, Bear the Bard, Champs Tramps, Panchi Artista, and Chromatic Creations US. Links to our partnered vendors, as well as our Twitch and YouTube channels, can be found on our website, stpbynight.com. The official theme song for St. Petersburg by Night is Vampire by Faith and Failure. You can find them at faithandfailure.com. You can follow SPbN on all socials with the hashtag StPeteByNight. If you wish to support our program, you can do so at ko-fi.com/StPeteByNight to help keep the stories rolling.
Welcome back. When we left the break, the two sections of our coterie had gone off to handle business, one to talk through some things, and both had some pretty heavy conversations. At the end of one of these conversations, though, they found out that Duncan had confessed to the murder of Edwin Kate. Time passes, roughly a week, a few days before the date that the gala has been extended to due to the storm. We find ourselves back in the ascent. The coterie coming together. After what would be a very tiring last few weeks, but also very quiet. The scene is yours. I'll say as Drake enters the space.
Drake will lift off his hat, put it on closest hook, knocking in, to see who's there. Howdy, y'all.
Hello, Drake.
Sophie.
Hello. Maggie's probably just sitting on the couch, flipping through one of her sketchbooks.
Matt just kind of waves a pencil in the air without looking up. He's also just flinging away at a sketchbook he's got.
Drake will turn to Maggie. Howdy, Maggie. Hey, pretty boy. So, do we have anything on the agenda this time? Or still kind of in a holding pattern?
I do believe this is the part where we start scheming and mechanizing and figuring out what we're going to do about the gala.
So, y'all specialty then.
Or if we could find the real killer of Edwin, we could get Duncan free. Or if we can't find the killer because we have no leads and no information and have no idea what killed him, perhaps we could Spartacus it, and if we all confess, then they can't really pin it on Duncan. Or just
honey.
I could. I know that that's a big ask.
What?
Apology.
Do you know what they're doing with him yet?
No, I don't. But I assume it will be execution. I mean, that seems par for the course with kindred.
Have you asked?
Well, technically, we aren't even supposed to know.
Ah. Do you know if he's still alive?
I haven't actually seen him. When I went to the Dolly earlier, they wouldn't let me enter. So I don't know.
Right. So, how do you suggest we go about looking to find the actual killer while we have everything else we need to get done?
So, well, we don't have many great leads in terms of finding the actual killer, which is also a bit terrifying for us, really, if something can just kill us while invisible and without making a sound, really. However, what if we find another kindred murderer who has possibly murdered our dear friend Gray, and submit him to the authorities, and then, someone who's been murdering a lot of kindred in the area.
So you want to blame Victor for this?
Not necessarily blame, just if we submit to the authorities, proof that he is harming kindred, which I do believe that he is, then it would just make sense that they would look more closely at him than at Duncan, and then there will be obviously consequences for Duncan committing perjury, but he would be safe from execution, probably, unless are you executed for perjury in kindred society?
Sometimes you execute
depends.
just looking at someone wrong.
It depends on the city and the.
Yeah, you could look at somebody funny and they would execute you just because.
Yeah, that's it. Venture cities. Let me tell you that. Yes.
We don't have a venture prince, correct?
We have a Tory.
As far as I know.
No.
They tend to be far more temperamental.
Bit more fun too.
Well, I only met him once, but he seemed fairly.
Have
I
you
think
seen?
it would be fine.
Have you watched the Prince walk? You would know if they were a Ventru.
I imagine it is rather uncomfortable for them to walk.
Yes, very much so.
I get it.
Well, we may need to put a pin in this, so to speak, until we can find out if he is still alive. She'll look over at
Yeah, man.
Matthew. Weren't you going to dress us for this occasion?
Yes. As a matter of fact, we need to get out of here. This place is starting to cramp my style. And y'all, don't get me wrong. You're beautiful. I love y'all, but we need to do something about all of this.
Drake will look down. It's like,
Yes, you especially.
he just looks mad at the. You're a pretty boy, but you're not quite in my league there.
This is more about fashion than looks.
Who
Part
needs
of it
clothes anyway?
is looks though, because if we fit in with the crowd well enough, we'll be able to get what needs to be done and save Matthew, and then save Gray possibly, or at least get some closure if something has happened, and then save Duncan.
You hear that,
And
Matt?
we'll
You
have
needed
saved everyone.
saving. Our dear Sophie's gonna ride in like a knight in shining armor for you, man.
Well, I mean, if I had to choose.
Yeah, fine. I guess there's a point to blending in.
Yes, because I mean, if I had to choose, don't get me wrong. Maggie is good at what she does, and Sophie, she sees things that some of us don't. But I'm pretty sure if you wrote in to save me, there'd be nothing left to save.
All right, escargot, let's go.
Question. Anybody in the room?
Yes, we're all here.
Any of you speak Italian, French, Russian, things like that?
Italian.
I know a little bit of French, but not much.
I just
All right.
woo them with my southern charm.
All right, Maggie, you're the Duchess.
I'm the what?
Trust me.
Is this another like, are you a mother thing?
Is this a thief thing?
Very much so.
This still doesn't explain. But I assume you will be explaining at some point.
That means, Sophie, you'll be the lady in waiting, and Mr. Monahan, you get to be security. All you have to do is sit there, stare menacingly at people, and not say a word.
Menacingly when invitingly, they work so much better.
Well, you see, and he'll just kind of walk over and gently put a hand on Maggie's shoulder. You'll be guarding the Duchess here. And she's a very prominent royal figure, and we wouldn't want anything bad to happen to her.
Are you having me pose as a member of aristocracy?
Just for tonight.
I thought we were shopping tonight.
Best of both worlds.
You really can't do nothing simple, can you, Matt?
Never. Simple is boring.
You know what? I can't knock you. I can't knock you for that one.
We need a vehicle, something inconspicuous.
I have a couple of different cars. I don't just have the hearse.
Good, because that would really put a damper on the plan.
I have no
When-
doubt.
When Edwin was alive, he could have just called us some cars.
Yeah. I did.
Worst to worst, we can always rent one.
Nothing that leaves a paper trail, preferably. If we've already
Pretty
got
sure
one.
that's why you use. Pretty sure that's usually why you'd want to use cash, no?
Usually rental agreements require a contract.
Yeah, fair. I just took cost. Well,
Are we getting more
Let's
of
go
this explanation once we go looking for what we are? She kind of makes a gesture to the vague direction of bodies. Or are we getting explanation later or now?
Yes, are we getting new names?
Have fun with it. Although, I'm thinking for Drake, how about Hans Gruber?
you know, I haven't worked on my German accent in a while.
Right.
But it's the best Christmas movie.
All right. Okay. Shall we get going then?
Absolutely,
I'm all
Your
for it.
Highness.
I do realize, though, you need to let me take point.
If you think you're capable of leading, sure.
No, I don't mean leading, Maggie. I mean security-wise.
Oh, absolutely. Tonight, he's your shadow.
I'm not sure how much I'm going to enjoy this of yours.
Probably as much as Mina did, and she loathed it.
As you load up and begin heading to your destination, Matthew, where are you taking them?
He's going to find some clothing store that's high-end enough to suit their needs.
Sure. Give me a wits and investigation.
Five with a crit.
You know that there are a couple places that might be able to suit your needs, but you also are aware that you have a cousin that happens to have access to a large selection of clothing that belonged to a former Victoria Ash.
You know, I get so in my head on these things, my plans and fun. I always forget the most important rule. Keep it simple, stupid.
Even I could have told you that one.
But I never do anything simple. It's always elegant. It's
Yeah.
always over. It's overinflated. It's just who I am.
Full of hot air.
A leopard don't change his spots.
Oh, you have spots? I'm just gonna have to knock down that pretty factor a little bit.
Oh, you're gonna have to try.
What is making this simpler for you?
I got family who dresses much better than I do.
And they're willing to help you.
I mean, our last encounter didn't end well. Who knows?
Do you wish to reach out or move on to another venue?
He'll send a message asking if could offer assistance dressing us to impress. And she is still invited to the soiree.
You'll receive a reply that has a unit code and an address. When you follow the address, it takes you to a storage unit. After putting in the code, you open it up and you find a fairly large closet. Clothes are more expensive than some of the houses that you've seen.
Without looking back, he's going to direct this towards Drake. You didn't even have to fall off the building for it to be Christmas.
Yippee-ki-yay.
Who's
Yeah,
these?
a large selection. Sorry, go ahead.
Maggie looking over at Matthew. Whose are these?
For right now, ours. But do be careful.
That is not how borrowing works. I am afraid to inform you.
Hey, look, I got the information. I got in. I didn't have to break anything to do it. It's okay.
I haven't seen so many clothes since my mother's closet. And Sophie will start feeling some of the fabrics.
I always find the less clothes, the more fun it gets.
There's a large variety of clothing here. There's clothing for men, clothing for women. There is a peculiar amount of rather silly or goofy looking clothes. All look like something out of like an old Batman movie on some occasions, but most of the clothing looks really nice, like something you would see at a incredibly formal event.
Hey, Matt, we can make you Harvey Dent, a penguin.
I think he would stick out quite a bit if he looked like a penguin.
Oh no, don't you know? Everyone finds penguins cute.
Is there a place for us to try these on, or are we expected to? Well, since we're borrowing these, I can't imagine that they would be okay with us tailoring.
Probably not.
Are we just trying these on in front of each other, or is there a place for that?
Drake's already taking off his vest.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Pump the
What?
brakes.
I need to get this off and put it over somewhere. It'll be easier. I don't have to take it off every time.
All
What,
right.
y'all think I was going to strip right in front of you?
Thought crossed my mind. You do everything else impulsively.
Y'all would be so lucky.
All right.
Among the area, there's not exact. This is a storage unit, but you do see that there's like a couple of like old Victorian style dividers, kind of stacked in the corner. There's a wall length mirror on the back.
Oh, Master Clothier, what you thinking?
Go play, have fun.
Ah, you seem to have such a reaction to my fashion sense. I figured why not let you dress me. Of course, I gotta stay over by our lovely Duchess, but
Maggie's already
not?
walking off to go and look at the dresses.
well, come on in.
Matthew, I do also defer to your judgment. Some of my clothing choices are a bit dated in terms of current society, and I want to blend in as much as possible.
Okay, and he'll just kind of step back, kind of do the finger frame thing. Yeah, something vintage, something nice. You know, vintage is in again, right? So it wouldn't really stick out so much as, you know, be the norm. For you, Mr. Monahan, monkey suit, little something that won't bust at the seams the second you put it on.
Could use a compartment or two for a steak.
Yes, room to breathe and other things.
Ah, what colors?
Something that won't stain and won't be obvious, so nothing white.
Ah, and yet here I was thinking I could be as pure as the driven snow.
I doubt that.
Maggie will start absentmindedly thumbing through the dresses. Most of the ones that she's pulling out and looking at, holding against herself, are some shade of green, and the sleeves go at least down to her elbows.
So,
Something I
Escargot.
wish my mother was here.
So, Escargot, am I going to be matching our Duchess for the gala, or was that just for tonight?
We'll call that Plan B. Had this not worked out.
Light gray, smart slacks. Probably need to go with a dark button up and a subtle tie.
Gray might be a good idea, because if you run into Victor and you say something about your gray suit, you could see how he reacts to the word gray.
You are forever precious, Miss Sophie. Never change.
She has a point, but that would require someone a little more insightful to be able to interpret his reactions.
He does have a little bit of a fascination with me, so one of y'all might be able to. Probably be a bit
Sophie,
distracted.
you could wear something gray. I know you are very good at. If you were to run into him, that is.
I suppose I could wear gray.
Oh no, not gray. Something like an accessory that is gray.
That is a much better idea. I was a little bit worried about how it would look on my complexion.
Yeah,
know,
nothing too dark.
That gives me an idea. If we're going to go with an accessory, I want an accessory with a certain symbol. That would definitely catch his attention. Y'all know the symbol that's on my khopesh?
I don't know if we'll be able to find that symbol in this storage unit.
It's an easy thing to hammer in.
We are borrowing these clothes. We probably shouldn't embellish them.
Let me find something to embellish. It's just an idea. Although, all these just sitting here and talk about wasteful. It'd be a shame if this place burned down. Thankfully, that's not going to happen.
We are borrowing. Mr. Monahan.
I didn't say nothing. I'm not an arson.
Sophie
I do
will
not
look
believe
for-
you.
Ah, no, fire. I can do without fire. Thank you.
Sophie will look for a gray clutch.
I think that's easy
I was
enough.
just saying it's a shame. Drake will go simple, something that leans on his frame well, light gray, kind of keeping to dark, muted colors. Good for a bodyguard look.
Maggie will try on a couple of different dresses and probably just one of the green ones.
And as Drake's well, I'm
Easy.
just saying, like, do we really know how good of a sprinkler system they have in here? You never know.
Drake, stop talking.
I don't
Drake
know how
literally
good of
has
a
his,
sprinklers. I don't know how good of a sprinkler system they have in here, but they might have cameras and
Drake just
microphones.
puts us in. I would not set fire to nothing. It ain't my style.
Again, I do not believe you.
Hey, you're welcome to not believe me, but I mean it. I really ain't my style. I like to be up and close and personal. Besides, it just
I'm
blows.
fairly certain that putting a hole through someone in the middle of the street isn't your style either, but you still did it.
No. I mean, putting a hole through someone, that is kind of my style. I'm just saying, this is such a waste. I mean, and all this here, barely using it.
Sophie will take the floor-length blue chiffon dress with a halter neckline that Matthew hands to her.
Yeah, I think blue would be a good color on you.
Have you decided what you're wearing, Matthew?
Yes.
Are you keeping it a secret?
Yes.
Of course, you must be dramatic.
Well, we are going to be in the car with you when we go over there. We're going to see it before the gala.
Yes.
I do imagine he's going to wear a very unflattering robe on top of it so he can dramatically reveal himself once he gets out of the car.
Oh, God, what do you take me for?
Take you for
walks
someone
up-
that is very dramatic, that likes to do things for effect.
Well, you
Drake
did
walk-
reveal yourself from your robe earlier, so it's not out of the question.
Drake grabs his denim vest and cowboy hat. As well, and it snaps his fingers near the exit. Come on, it's more my style.
So you're going to perfectly blend in with a cowboy hat. Perfect, Drake. It's wonderful.
You don't leave a good cowboy hat sitting somewhere. All right, you make sure it's safe and protected. All right, it's a whole thing.
It will be safe and protected in the car.
I didn't say I was putting it out. Y'all are not giving me enough credit. I swear.
We're giving you just as much credit as you have advertised to us.
I'm not gonna wear the. I know the cowboy hat identifies me, so I'm not gonna wear it.
All right.
Although, it could work to our benefit if Drake were extremely visible and perhaps a distraction, as you're likely not going to be really sneaking around anyway.
Do you think they'll have a big hollow cake? I could probably use that as a distraction.
I get it. I overcomplicate things.
No. Like, I mean, we also gotta check those sprinkler systems at the gala. Make sure to check the windows high. How many stories is it? Maybe the alarm systems.
Scarecrow. Security, cameras, areas, routes, exits.
I thought you had something in mind there. It's simple.
Wasn't this gala supposed to be taking place within Duncan's area?
Yes, it was.
that's
Perhaps we
convenient.
perhaps we could sprinkle a bunch of asbestos outside of the building to help prevent it from catching fire.
Hey, I was just joking about the fire. She's the one that's bringing it up now.
Well, no. There is that issue with Matthew's friend burning down the galleries. I mean,
Whoa. First of all, that guy was no friend of mine. I never even met the guy. Second,
Drake's just raising his hands like, I have no part. I am not part of this. I am free and clear.
Because of your relationship to Duncan, do you have access to this property?
does Sophie have access to this property?
You do.
Yes, well, I haven't been over yet, but I do have a spare key, so we could take some preventative measures. I'm sure Duncan won't mind.
Maggie will look over to Matthew. You can look over the place.
yeah, get a good feel for the place. That wouldn't hurt.
You know, asbestos really is lovely. They actually used it as the snow in The Wizard of Oz.
Sophie, dear, even I know that it didn't end well.
Oh yes, I read about Judy Garland passing. That was very unfortunate. Yes, she deserved.
I got to watch it before going to Nam, and it was actually quite interesting. It was fun. Oh, speaking of Nam, phosphorus and napalm, that's also my style. Truckexe has a gigantic smirk on his face.
I'm
I think
hell.
we can get some blueprints on this building. We could probably get an idea of it. Is it in St. Pete or is it in
It's actually in the neutral zone.
neutral zone? Excellent. That'll make things a little bit easier. Actually, I don't think we're allowed to go there. Oh wait, we were cleared. We can go there.
Yeah, we're fine.
Yes, thanks to Duncan's great sacrifice that hopefully we are going to prevent. He will be fine.
Oh, and Sophie, what's more important is you being fine if he isn't. But that's a discussion for some other time.
But he will be fine, so we don't have to worry.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm
about
absolutely sure, Miss Sophie.
Right. Well, we can certainly check out this place before the gala. And, Sophie, you may want to, if you know where Duncan's haven is. If he is like you, he has likely had a plan put in place in case something happens to him. You may want to check his things.
Well, this gala is actually at his new haven.
And hell, was going to hold a gala at his haven?
I believe it was going to be like a large, like housewarming party.
I'll give you a Duncan credit. That's some balls right there. Probably best it doesn't get burned down then.
Drake. I'm going to say this just once. One more time. And then leave it at that. Shut up.
And
Matthew,
Drake
you
makes the
received a
motion, just
text?
zipping his.
And then he'll look at his phone.
I have heard fire too many times. Come out of that box. Get out of there in the next 5 minutes.
And then he'll look at it. Drake, if that is your real name, it wouldn't happen to be Richard, would it?
I mean, depends. Is that what you want to call me?
Well, right now, yes, Dick. We gotta go.
You gather your selections and hurry out of the storage locker. Sophie, while Matthew is scrambling to kind of herd everyone out of the space and locking it behind you, what Maggie said kind of seems to hang around for a moment. Maybe there is something. Maybe he did leave something.
Do you mean in his house or in the bunker?
You've been in the bunker recently. And it looked pretty untouched. But it is peculiar that since he is the one hosting this gala, there's no word of it being canceled. Maybe there's something at the manor.
Sophie will turn to Maggie. Maggie, do you mind perhaps coming with me for a pit stop? And Matthew, Drake, you're free to come as well, as long as Drake promises to keep his hands to himself.
I shall keep them near my person.
Yes, I would like to take a quick stop just to check on some things.
All right. Where are we going?
Devlin, were you referring to the manor that's next to Sophie's old estate?
This would be the one that's the one I'm referring to. Would be it is closer than the one that you would have had, closer than the one that you would. Yeah, the one that he got in the neutral zone is closer to the one at the estate that you're currently at. Not the one that he used to own in Tampa.
Okay, so you're saying go to the manor. What that, like the new where the gala is going to be?
The place that he has residence in, yeah.
Oh, okay. We were planning on going there anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I think we should go and check the place. His new manor.
All right. I'll follow your lead.
All right. Sophie will give the address to the driver. And I suppose I could leave him his cufflinks and the book. I wanted to give them to him in person, but I'm not sure when I'll see him again.
Alright. You may want to do that unless you think he's going to run. Then you may want to put them in a place where he might have stashed for a bolt hole. But Maggie will drive. Up to this place in the neutral zone.
As you make the drive up, you follow the instructions to reach the manor. You can see that there's already been a lot of pieces put up as they've been setting up for this large kind of outdoor kind of party type situation that you will be attending soon. But you don't see anyone actively working at the moment. Seems they've all mostly left. Give me what's in wares.
I got 8 successes on a crit.
I was so excited with my 5 successes. And I would have invited Matthew and Drake as well.
who, and I spent a will.
So this manor kind of is in an area with some trees kind of overlooking the water, seeing heading to Tampa across the way. As you are kind of looking at it, it's a pretty tall building and pretty obfuscated from the main road. So many kind of trees in the area, it's almost like it's got its own privacy fence. As you guys kind of step out and give a look around, you notice that there is one light on upstairs. You don't see any movement, but it's the only light in the house that you can see on at the windows.
Maggie's going to activate Sense the Unseen while they're there, and she's not looking over at Drake.
Good call. You don't notice anything out of the ordinary.
Okay. Maggie would nod up to the light at the upper floor and look over to Sophie. Was he expecting guests, or are these organizers?
I have a sinking pit in my stomach. I fear that somehow my grandsire has taken the house and is going to hold this party for himself, and that he's taken the house from Duncan. While Duncan is held for something he didn't do. I feel if we walk in there, my grandsire is going to be in that room, perhaps sitting in a rocking chair, menacingly.
I see.
Perhaps we should turn the car around and just go in for the night.
Yeah, Miss Sophie,
No.
I mean, yeah, can't let fear rule you. Caution
However,
makes sense.
we can assess it from the outside. Maggie will look over at Matthew. If I am correct. Or would you like to sneak inside and get an internal view?
He'll kind of look up. I mean, the outside, I can see quite a few things, but yeah, looking inside would be a safe bet.
I will be unseen. I can do it. I can go inside.
And you will stay near one of us, so that you are not alone.
As much as I'd like to back y'all up, I have a feeling that even trying to be sneaky ain't gonna help y'all on my end. Or would y'all like?
I don't really plan on sneaking. You have a key to
Okay.
this house. We can walk in.
Just tell me where you want me.
If you don't feel like comfortable inside the house, you can remain in the car and keep an eye from out here.
I know that's too boring. I was just trying to be, a bit proactive and not fuck things up. Yeah.
No, if my grandsire is in there, I do want you to be near in case he becomes unruly attacks us, it would be good to have your capabilities in the near.
See, there's some good thinking.
There, see, now, plan B. She gets to be Duchess. You be security. Shit goes sideways,
like a plan.
get her out.
Sounds like a plan to me.
I'd say try to be subtle, because, we still don't want to cause any more damage than necessary, but, these houses are old. Anything could happen.
Lips are sealed, and I will try not to run through a wall.
Sophie is going to reach into her purse and pull out one of Bellatrix's tea bags. And she's going to lift it to her nose and just inhale deeply from the bag. And she's going to activate Mind Mask.
Greg looks at Matt. Is that what kids are doing these days?
I can't keep up half the time.
New thing every time.
I have a sinking feeling that I am one of the youngest of this group.
And yet you held yourself so tall.
Someone has to.
Yeah, ain't wrong.
And Sophie will put the tea bag back into her purse. Yeah. Let's go in there. We can do this.
Okay. So, everybody is approaching the building?
Maggie is keeping an eye out, and she is going to be kind of looking out for, hiding places.
Okay. So, let's go ahead and do a group stealth check type situation. So, everybody give me a Dex and stealth.
I'm going to be in Silence of Death and Unseen Passage as well.
Okay. That'll definitely affect the difficulty. Everybody else go ahead and make the roll.
Three.
1.
One.
2.
Okay.
Like I said, she wasn't intending to sneak in.
There. As you guys are kind of making your way up, everyone pretty much does fine. Except at one point, you guys hear something shatter as Drake accidentally knocks down a vase.
Doesn't say anything. He just takes a deep breath and
But you don't hear any sounds following the crash. You're not noticing anything weird as you make your way to the staircase. The place seems empty. Most of the lights are out. You see there's some things set up for organizing. There's some boxes and stuff that haven't been fully unpacked or moved to where they need to for the event.
Matt's going to look around to see if there's cameras or anything that might be active.
You don't see any cameras.
How about vents?
You find like some air vents that are mostly just kind of like going down in the floor for the most part. No like anything on that line. You do have like a couple of small ceiling vents for like a heat and air unit.
So, Mr. Monahan,
Hmm.
you want to leave some care packages for yourself just in case?
Hmm. Yeah, I think that sounds fun. How heavy?
Something light, easy, just in case, they check us.
Six and best. Probably a pistol or two. And I guess. Well, this is important, so I guess I'll leave my Kopesh too. Mind helping me find good places?
Of course. It's my specialty.
Sounds good. I got a little bit of armament. Most of it will be stakes and but then we got the pistols and the sword. So
The toothpick might be a little harder to hide, but the smaller stuff.
I'm better with the stakes, but sometimes it's good to just have a good old blade. Especially if we're dealing with other Bahari or who knows what.
I mean, we went from
Drake.
Christmas to Easter, so let's hide some eggs, shall we?
Yep. Drake will go back and start grabbing things out of the trunk. Out of game, how many stakes do we want? He's got a lot of stakes.
One for each, just in case.
Yeah. All right. So we'll say 4 stakes, 2 pistols, 1 Kopesh.
Ooh, nothing loud.
Loud?
Nothing loud. We want to try to be as quiet with this as possible, and we already make enough noise as it is.
All right, then it's stakes and Kopesh it is. Let's go with 7 stakes and the sword.
Fair enough.
Just remember, if anyone comes across them, they can be used against us too.
Yeah, I know. I already took that in consideration. So let's be extra
Alright.
careful on hiding them.
You're the master of this one. I'm trusting you entirely.
While you guys are hiding things, Sophie, as you're walking around, you notice something is kind of odd about the house. It didn't dawn on you at all when you were outside looking toward the building, but now that you're inside, walking the halls, going through the spaces, this place you kind of remember Duncan telling you little stories about the place that he lived. And you have been in a few homes since you came back. The material that the interior of this house is made of, is very reminiscent. The material, the way that the inside is structured, it's almost as if you've heard enough about this place, you know where you're going and how to navigate it. It's like you're walking through Duncan's childhood home.
Can I remember anything that he would have mentioned, like secret cubbies or places on the staircase where you would have to bang the wall to get a panel to open, things like that?
You remember telling you that he used to keep personal objects in a little wooden plank that he would pull underneath his bed of his bedroom that was upstairs.
Sophie is going to sneak behind Maggie and just wait until the group starts to head upstairs.
I will like a full inventory list at some point of the objects that you have stashed in the house, and we'll go over where you stashed them and such at another point. So, you guys eventually hide everything and come back together. Now, having kind of explored the bottom floor, are you ready to go upstairs?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Greg
You
still
make
does
your
have
way-
a stake on his person, I will say.
You start making your way upstairs. When you get up there, you see there it kind of goes up into a corridor with a couple of doors on each side, and then turning off to the right. The door at the end of the hallway, you can see a light creeping through the bottom.
Maggie's going to check out the other places quietly to see if there are any hiding places in there because Sophie hasn't said anything.
Sophie is
You
going
open-
to
go
follow
ahead.
Maggie. Sophie's just following Maggie.
You quietly open the first door on the left. It looks like a children's room. There's a couple of like children's bed. There's some toys and stuff kind of set up. There's a little bookshelf with some old children's tales and things that are set up, but it is empty, and there's nothing much of note there. You go across the hallway to the next room, and when you open that one, it looks like a much larger room. It's probably a master bedroom. It has a very large bed, very Victorian in its design. There's a large wardrobe on one side of the room. Very old and very kind of high society. The way that everything is decorated in the space. But again, outside of that, nothing there.
Sophie's going to whisper to Maggie, so breaking the silence of death. I'm going to check under the bed. And then she'll be silent again and try to feel for any loose panels.
Maggie is going to go near the bed and kind of lift up the comforter, and whatever duvet is kind of draped over it, so she has an easier looking under there.
As you're investigating, feeling around, it doesn't feel like there are any loose planks under this bed.
Sophie will whisper again to Maggie. I don't find anything, but we should check under beds.
Is that where he usually hides things?
I think he mentioned it. I don't know if he did, but it might be a good check. And then Sophie will go silent again.
When you climb up from the floor after checking the panels, you notice there's a little, on the bedside table, there's a little, looks like a leather notebook. It's not as old or as nice as a lot of the things in this room, but it does look like it has been recently used when looking at it.
I definitely want to take a look at that.
Maggie will pick it up and start to slowly through it, holding it at a level where Sophie can look at it from wherever Sophie is.
You open up to one of the pages, and you see it looks to be the writing on it you clearly recognize as Duncan's. But there are moments when he's writing that it seems to be weirdly flared, or like little accents that you're not used to seeing in his penmanship. As he continues, he tells us it's almost like he's writing in the perspective of another person. A mother having spent much of their day socializing, tending to various needs of the people around her, having issues with kind of wrangling about 4 or 5 children, which she tends to pass off to the nanny. You, as you're reading this, please give me what's an insight.
I have 2 successes.
Okay. It dawns on you that this is full of small little stories that are written through his perspective, in the perspective of his mother. And then at some point, it takes more of a perspective of the father, who seems to be aggressive, violent. Stories about how he has to discipline unruly children and things on that line, and does so fiercely. As you flip through these pages, this is his parents' bedroom, a recreation of it, and something compelled him to write these down.
I'll whisper to Maggie, we should probably move on.
Do you want to keep this?
You can hold it for now.
Maggie will tuck it into her bag. And we'll continue moving.
You go into the next room across the hall. It looks like this might be a storage closet of some sort. It seems to have like some old chemical, like cleaning reagents, or like tools and things on that line. And then finally you arrive to the hall with the light.
Maggie's going to open the door.
Matt's going to whisper a moment of truth.
You open the door, and you see what looks to be very similar to the children's room, but the bed's a little bigger. You see there's like a small dresser, there's a little desk against the door, or the wall with the door that you're coming in from. It's got a couple of little books. Sophie, you immediately recognize two of the books on the desk are ones you personally recommended. As you are kind of scanning the place, this does kind of resemble, you see like the little spot in the corner that looks like it was a place dedicated for like a small animal, pet dog that he told you about in the many long years you spent down in that bunker. You are pretty confident this would be Duncan's room. Next
Is
to
there
the
anyone?
bed. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
There's nobody here. Next to the bed, there's another bedside table with another journal. But other than that, there's no one here.
Sophie's going to start looking under the bed for loose panels.
It takes you a few, but finally you do find one that seems a little loose.
Are there any treasures?
You pop it open, kind of reach down, sift through some material before pulling out some objects that you find. One, you find an envelope that has Sophie written across the face of it. You also find a photograph of, well, it's a very old photograph. You see what appears to be a very proud, very fine aristocratic family. A father with a very well-groomed appearance, a fine suit, standing with his shoulders back and very proud and strong, with a very proud wife next to him and 5 children framing the bottom of the image. Most of which are smiling, except for one, which you do see a striking resemblance to Duncan. You also find a very antique knife that looks like it has just a little bit of rusting along the edges.
Sophie is going to take it all and slip them into her purse, and then she's going to walk over to the journal and take a look at that.
You open it up to a random page, and you find a journal entry. There's a trick to hiding. I learned it last summer when the walls creaked in the quiet heat and the footsteps would echo in the hallway. Mother says he's not mean, just tired, but I know better. The floor shakes different when he's just tired and when he's not. Tonight the steps are slow, heavy. He's searching, probably checking the kitchen first, then the living room. Then he'll come to my room, because he always checks there last. I'm under the bed, pressed flat with my arms wrapped tight around my knees. The bedspread hangs low, casting a shadow that I like to imagine is thick and impossible to see through. My room smells like crayons and chalk, but under here it's cool and earthy, like hiding in a cave. I close my eyes, focusing on the dim green light that creaks through the bedspread. The shadow should be enough. I'm good at hiding. He comes to the door, his hand rattles the handle. Pauses, the door swings open. I'm sure he won't see me. He's never looked under here before, but I can feel him looking around, searching for me, the way he used to look for his lost keys or wallet, annoyed, impatient. Except I'm not a wallet or a key, and I can feel his anger through the floorboards. Finally, the door closes. His steps fade down the hall, each one softer until there's nothing but the humming sounds of the night. I don't move. Not yet. I know to wait, because sometimes he comes back.
Sophie's gonna take the journal, and also put it into her purse. She's going to open the letter, but face it away from the rest of the group.
Hello, sweetie. I've heard you got yourself in a bit of a... well, unseeming circumstances. You are probably incredibly mad at me right now, but I know this wasn't you. And I know you trust your friends, so I'm sure they didn't do it either. And I've had the opportunity to enjoy life and unlife in this world, and you should have that opportunity as well. Thank you. You made the years on that hole tolerable. The knife is a key to my haven. When you get the opportunity, I would like you to go and claim a few things there for me. But do wait until after. I hate for the off chance for you to go down there, see what I have, and then we have to talk. Do me that courtesy. I love you. Duncan. And underneath that, there's some coordinates.
She'll put that into her purse, and then she'll drop the unseen passage, and she'll look at the rest of the coterie. He's so stupid, and he thinks he's helping me.
Maggie will pull out a black handkerchief and hand it over to Sophie.
Drake will walk over, just place a large hand on her shoulder, give her a nod, squeezing it and walking away.
We have to help him, we have to figure out what really happened to Edwin, and we have to fix.
We will see.
Matthew, do whatever it is you think you can do to help to prevent anything bad happening at the gala, but I would like to leave as soon as you do that.
I think we're good. Drake, you think we're good?
What's your judgment on this? But I'm of the mind we're good.
Well then, I don't want to see.
Maggie will flick on Oblivion Sight before she leaves, as she takes a look around. Muted?
Muted.
Oblivion Sight. No, you don't see anything here.
Okay. Then she will flick on the binding fetter.
The knife glows a little bit. Not glows, but you can see that there is something attached to that dagger.
Okay. Maggie will look at the dagger and then at Sophie. Keep that close. Keep that close.
Yeah.
And that milky white film will fade from her eyes and she'll turn off her Oblivion Sight. Shall we?
Yes, I would like to leave. And Sophie pulls the tea bag again out of the purse and inhales it deeply.
So we're leaving?
Mhm.
Where do we go from here?
Honestly, Maggie's probably just going to drive around while they talk. She doesn't want to go straight back to the ascent.
If you would like, you can have a stand in the car, or we can just move on.
Maggie
Since you're
doesn't have
driving,
much to say.
you are.
Drake will turn to Sophie. Just a moment. He keep his voice kind of low, not hiding it, but low. If you need to vent, I'll do anything. Give you my word. He just nods.
Thank you, Drake. And Sophie will continue to read Duncan's journal in the car.
As you go for a drive, the silence is deafening. Finally, you make it back into Camria territory. From there, we will go ahead and shift to our final scene. we find ourselves back on Elysium ground. There is a small room, very similar to the one you were being interrogated in, where we see a couple of individuals, but the one we recognize here is going to be Primogen of the Bruja, Gabriel, and sitting across from them is the man in the orange hat. Gabriel kind of sits there for a moment, another person to his side, looking over a couple of documents. And, what is it that you find so concerning that you require? Especially considering her name has been cleared, why do you insist on taking accounting for Miss Clews? And it kind of pans back. As reliable as I am sure Duncan was, he has just confessed to the murder of the Keeper of Elysium. Not somebody that I think is probably the best tutor for my dear grandchild, and I think it is incredibly important that she receives proper teaching. I don't wish to cause a great inconvenience, but I will request an audience with the prince if need be. Gabriel sits there for a moment. That is agreeable. I will reach out to them, and we'll see about setting a date. Are these terms acceptable? A wide grin spreads across his face. Absolutely. And that is really tonight's session. Thank you all for tagging along so far, and we will see you all in the next chapter.
This has been a St. Petersburg by Night production. Bloody Strings is produced in agreement with the World of Darkness and Dark Pack. The storyteller for Bloody Strings is Devlin. Tonight's characters were voiced by Kyrie, Noree, Lekar, Truckexe, MissyMew, and Kendall. Visit our website at stpbynight.com for more information about all of our productions and how you can become a part of our community. Thank you for listening. Until next time, fangs, stakes, and claws out.